You feel with the Michigan game and the way you guys played more often than not during the last 7 games or so, you're getting closer to where you were at the end of last year?
Yeah, that's probably fair to say. The end of last year, the second half of last year, I thought we were playing with more of a purpose more often, and that was starting to show itself in results. I do think the first half of this year we've played better than the record indicates, and the last 7 games the difference has been the results have been better. I think our belief in our game has been pretty solid over the past 7, 8 games, and I think that's a huge part of this process for us, is believing that every time we step on the ice, we're not only going out there to get better, but we're going out there to make good things happen and expect results, and that seems to have been a little bit better over the past little bit.
How much do you think that belief takes a challenge over the next couple of weeks when you've got nationally ranked Notre Dame, Western Michigan, and then Miami?
I think it's absolutely huge. Part of transitioning from a program that hasn't won to one that's going to expect to win and that will win is believing that that's going to happen and not accepting it not to happen. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. We all know that's harder to control. But what you believe in your heart and your head on a daily basis and going into games and things like that is, I think that plays a lot in how you play the game. And we're going to get tested big time over the next, 5 games, with one against Notre Dame and then back-to-back weekends with Western and Miami. But that's life in our league. That's something that we have to deal with better than we have to this point. Tomorrow's an opportunity to do that. I thought we dealt with it pretty well last Tuesday in a building that's not easy, and we haven't won it. We went in there with a purpose, and things went well early, and I think they kind of rolled from there. So we need to start to focus on those kind of things and expecting to win every game, no matter who we're playing against.
We also talk a little bit about, I see the home record. I know the last game was a win against a nationally ranked team, but there have been, I hate to say struggles before that, but the record is not.
Yeah, no, our home record is terrible. I don't think our play at home has been terrible, but it hasn't been good enough. Okay. It hasn't been good enough to win games. I've said it before, our fans deserve better. Our guys deserve better. We're not winning games for other people. The fans are part of it, and they do deserve to cheer us on at home and feel good about how we've played. I look at Ohio State series, I look at Ferris series, I look at the one Notre Dame game at home, the one Michigan State game at home, the one Western Michigan at home. We haven't played where we shouldn't have won any of those games, but the reality is we haven't. So we have to find a way to win games that we play well in. And I think more so than not, those games have happened at home. It's something that we've talked about. We talked about it before the Niagara game. It was our last opportunity to win a game at home, and we were able to win that. Tomorrow is our next opportunity to win a game at home, and that's what we'll focus on. The first half, I've said this many times, we take ownership of it. It's ours. What we do with it is going to be our decision. And not to have a league win at home is just not good enough. It's just not good enough, and all we can do is focus on tomorrow night and try to make it better.
Since you guys have come back from the Christmas break, have you noticed there being a different mood about the team with the recent success you guys have had?
I think there's been a different mood about the team right after the Michigan game and then the long break. The Michigan game just before Thanksgiving. It gave us a little bit of relief and decompression time and reflection time. And then the 14 days during the holiday after the Notre Dame game was another 14 days of reflection, and I think people have been thinking more positive than negative during that time. I even include myself in that. Obviously I'm a pretty intense guy, and I have to conscious of the fact that I can almost become too negative because we want it so bad. But the fact is, it has been better in terms of the overall atmosphere around here since we came back from that right after the Thanksgiving break there. We gave the guys a few days. So it's been better since then. The results in Alaska were better. The game against Notre Dame, we played not bad. Didn't get the result we wanted, and we've had some decent results as of late. So I think there's been a correlation. The attitude's been a little more positive, a little more upbeat, a little more let's get to the rink and get better today, and the results have been better. Now, I think our execution in practice has been better, which that always affects my mood anyway. So it's all happening hand in hand, though, and I think it's not so much since the holiday break as much as after the Thanksgiving break.
Has there been something on the ice that's been different and better in that period?
Not really. I think it's just been when you get away from it a little bit, it always seems to bring a little more positive, a little more reality that everything's not as bad as I may, in my own mind, have it made out to be. Again, we are such a more stable program in all facets than we have been. We're developing some momentum in terms of the leadership and the older guys on this team. We're asking, and I've said this before, we're asking older guys to teach younger guys how to win at this level. Our older guys don't know how to win at this level. They haven't. So we're putting a stop to that momentum and starting to find ways to win so then we can pass it on from year to year. So I just think it's hopefully a culmination of 2.5 years. That's what it is. Didn't just happen. Second half of last year didn't just happen, right? And no one's saying it did. But we're trying to put a stop to playing well and losing, quite honestly. And we know that that's something that happens every day. And it's our older people that have to lead the way in practice, and then ultimately games are what they are. They're another opportunity to win. That's what we're trying to do. So I think the overall aura has been better. It's been more positive because the results say. But I do think guys have had a chance to reflect a bunch over the past 8 weeks. And that reflection says we are moving in the right direction, and we have to stay with it if we have any chance to get the results. And the results have shown they've been a little bit better. I think we go back to the belief, the trust, the execution in practice, all those things, but ultimately our guys saying we want better.
The Sunday-Tuesday matchup, it seemed like momentum rolled right from Canisius right into Michigan,
Yeah.
but now there's a good sized break here. Was the challenge this past week keeping the foot on the gas pedal and keeping that winning mindset?
Yeah. Absolutely. Notre Dame has had 4 games in 7 nights. That doesn't happen very often in college hockey. All those games have been on the road. We're going to have to be ready to compete right away. Not that they're a tired team, I don't know that, but they're a team that's played a bunch of hockey in a short period of time, and we had, and it created some momentum for us, as you say, last Tuesday. The only way to me for us to keep our foot on the gas is to really lean on the older guys to make sure practices are done properly, and our practices have been good. Our preparation is good. Physically, we're ready. Now the boys' challenge is to mentally be prepared for tomorrow night. So it's an interesting dynamic. We'll see what we get tomorrow night. I don't see any reason why we're not ready to compete at a high level, even though we haven't played since last Tuesday.
Is there a concern with Notre Dame that they're coming off a loss in a very highly regarded game 1 versus 2 on Tuesday, and then the result on the weekend?
Well, I can tell you there's a concern when you play Notre Dame, regardless of their last result, because of the matchup. They are a tough matchup for anybody at all 3 positions. And that's the challenge for Notre Dame. It's not necessarily that they lost their last game or they lost last Tuesday. They're a difficult team. They're a team that a couple weeks ago I thought we played pretty well, and they still found a way to kind of take off and run away from us at the end there for a 4-1 loss for us. But we have to be ready to go like any other day. It's not going to be a different focus because their last game they lost. We're going to meet the challenge. We're going to prepare. We're going to make sure they're ready and know what to expect from Notre Dame. And then how we execute is always the challenge for us, and we'll see how we do.
What do you expect from Notre Dame?
Maybe building off of John's question, I guess, you expect them to want to make amends for Saturday, but I don't know that. You expect a very deep team that has things rolling. I don't care what their last results have been. They're a deep team, and that depth we got exposed to a couple of weeks ago. or whatever it was, 4 weeks ago. They're a team that doesn't need to rely on one guy. They're a team that's defending very well. They're a team that their goaltender is on top of his game. So that doesn't leave many holes. We don't have to play a perfect game. That's not what I'm saying. We have to go in with a belief and a focus and a purpose to what we're doing, and then we have to execute at that level, and that's our challenge and always has been. So we expect a good competitive game tomorrow night. They compete really hard for a top-level team. They have no problem getting in the trenches and digging in and battling, and obviously that's something we've done okay. So I expect it to be a good battle, just like the last time we played them, just like last year when we played them, and the future games when we go to Notre Dame, I expect the same thing. So it'll be grinded out. We have to take care of the puck much better than we did the last time. We have to put them in situations that they don't want to be in much more this time than we did last time we played them, meaning get the puck to the offensive zone. Nobody wants to play in their defensive zone, even though they're pretty good at it. Nobody wants to do that. Last time, if I'm right, 2 of the 4 penalties we had weren't very good, and they scored on 2 of them. That has to change. So it's just, again, not a perfect game, but a cleaner game than we played before.
Will you talk a little bit about Ryan Williamson? And I know some guys sometimes just have success against teams, and there may not be a reason except it's that's their good day. He has had good games and seems to get points and goals against Notre Dame. Is there
Bryce Williamson?
No, I'm sorry.
Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Yeah. Well, Carpenter's one of those guys. I don't think it's specific to Notre Dame. I think Carpenter's one of those guys that's a good hockey player, and he does well against whoever he plays against. But I think he shows up more just because they're big games, and Ryan's one of those kids that expects more from himself in those big games. Not that he doesn't expect it from himself every day, but he knows the challenge. I mean, I think back of the series at Notre Dame last year, he scored late in the second game to give us the win there. And I think he's just one of those kids that steps up in big moments, and he knows when you're playing a top 3 team in the country, that's a big moment. And we expect him to do the same tomorrow.
Are we going to see Brett Muller tomorrow night?
No, Brett hasn't played since the injury.
And what's the official diagnosis?
I think it was a concussion. The level of that, who knows, right? He's getting better, though. He's back in class, and so he's on the road to recovery. It'll just be a matter of when.
You won't have him this week and next week, tomorrow?
Well, again, I think you know the rules about practicing and playing around here, and since he hasn't practiced, Wednesday's an off day. He's not going to be involved in full-go practice at the earliest until next Monday. So if he's not involved next Monday, then obviously that diminishes the potential of him playing at Miami. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge. I think he is getting... the first couple of days there was a little bit of improvement, but not much. The last few days, I think it's been exponentially more improvement on a daily basis. He's still not 100%, but I think he's getting there.
And will we see Cooper tomorrow night?
Yeah, Cooper's back to 100%. He's good.
Did he actually have a concussion?
I don't know. Mark has been dealing with some upper sinus stuff and then the head injury, and I think it was just a matter. He just wasn't right. And we were cautious about it, as you always are when it comes to the head. And I don't think he was ever in the same boat as what Muller was in. But it was a minor concussion, if that's what it was. And he's through it. He's practiced the last 4 or 5 days full go.
Is Jake Sloat yet in the discussion of playing in the game yet?
Not yet, no. We feel like if there was a percentage to go on Jake, it's about 80%. He is getting better. I thought like a week ago it was really questionable whether he was going to be able to get that mobility back. I mean, Jake's feet was one of his strengths, and he's shown lots of improvement when it comes to that over the past week. So there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to Jake. It's just a matter of when do we get there.
Anybody else out of the Michigan game injured?
No, we came out okay.
You guys good? All right, first, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Ben, I'm John Wagner from Toledo Blade. I assume you heard Coach Bergeron talk a little bit about the differences in the team in the last month or so. In your eyes, what have you seen as differences in the team?
I never questioned a commitment level or anything like that as far as that extreme goes, but I feel like everybody's got more of a positive attitude. I know that the freshman class, just being around them, they're high in spirits. I think more of a sense of coming to the rink with more of a purpose, knowing that we can win games in Michigan at Yost. Just a belief has been brought to another level.
Is there a concern that belief that's gone to a higher level is going to be tested because you've got, Notre Dame this weekend, Western the week that follows, Miami after that?
I know that a win at Yost the other day, I think that sparked something, and I know that something like that just subconsciously builds confidence. I think there's no worry. I think tomorrow night there's going to be into this weekend is going to be a high level of confidence.
I know you weren't here last year, but from what you've been able to observe, do you feel like the team is close to getting back to where it was at the end of last year?
The last couple of weeks here, there's some promise. Absolutely. Keep it short. Yeah, absolutely.
Will you talk a little bit about your freshman year and how bumps, highs, lows? I know you try and play it smooth, but it doesn't always go that way, does it?
No, but I think as a freshman, it's a learning process, especially this level. You can get away a lot more. You can get away with a lot more stuff in junior. It's for me, it's always it's been details and being hard on pucks and being good in defensive zone. I think those are things I try to be conscious of on a daily basis, and I think that if I had any highs or lows, it was because of I'm not getting pucks out, or I'm not being hard on it enough. And other than that, I feel like everything's gone well. I mean, I know I can score goals, but it's just been a process a little bit for myself, and I just try to get better every day with everything. So
was not having a goal before Canisius, was that a weight?
Yeah, that was. I mean, I'd say it's a monkey off the back a little bit, but it was. I had my uncles there in the stands, so I had a little family fire going into that game. So. Good push.
So we need to find the way to get to the family to more games. Is that what it comes down to?
Yeah, I don't know. I was more or less being funny, but
and I was trying to too. So
yeah. Bring them out. If you guys can ship them out here, it'd probably be beneficial. But yeah, it was good. It was good.
Why'd you come to BG?
To be honest, I didn't have all the options in the world, but and they Coach Bergeron specifically showed a lot of interest, and he was confident in having me here. And I came here on a visit in March, and I loved it. I loved the guys. It seemed like it was a good fit for me, like as a person, as a school, especially as a program, especially one that's headed in such a great direction. It was just a great opportunity for me.
What's your major?
Business. I'm going to try to be a marketing major, I believe.
Based on what you knew about the CCHA coming into this year, how has that lived up to your expectations so far?
It's pretty surreal. I know I always wanted to go to Boston University as a 5-year-old, and then I was like, I like Michigan's helmet, so I was like, oh, okay. So like the first time at Yost Arena, I was like, oh, I'm playing Michigan right now. Like this is it's humbling a little bit. But then again, I was like, it was quick on and off. It's like, okay, well I'm here. Let's go. Let's do it. So, say overall, it's been, I guess in a way, exceeded expectations a little bit, but humbled me at the same time.
Murph, what's the biggest difference between the junior game and the college game? What's been the biggest transition for you?
execution and little play and little things like not turning pucks over. Whereas you turn a puck over in the neutral zone here, it's like that. It's back in your zone. It's that. There's a shot on net, 2-1-1 on man rush. It's a transition, being hard on pucks, and that's me.
You guys good? All right, Murph, thank you very much.